Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Shelly and I am so glad you guys are here. Today I'm gonna play with something that I wasn't gonna get. The Jaclyn Hill new palette. This is the Strawberry Feels palette. I wasn't gonna get this. Every picture I saw online, I was like, I don't know, I don't really want a strawberry palette. But then I saw it. I went into Ulta with my husband and we looked at it and I went, okay, actually this is really kind of cute. So I thought maybe we'd do a face full of mostly, not all, Jaclyn type products, and we'll play around with the palette and see what we can come up with and see if it translates as well as it looked when I saw it actually in person. I bought this and I haven't used it very much. This is the Jaclyn Skin Perfecting Blurring Tint. This is in light medium. When I've used this in the past, I didn't really feel like I got what I wanted out of it. It really wasn't the product that I thought it was. Sorry, I've got a swatch on my finger that I have to get off from an earlier video. Okay, now we have relatively clean hands. When you put this skin tint on, I just have a little bit of skin sprays. I really enjoy the ones from Makeup Revolution. It has like the skincare sprays. I have 3 different ones and I just kind of squirt them on my face and let them dry down. And it works as a really good prep for a lot of the makeup looks that I do. All right, so it's been a little while since I've tried this. Maybe I like it better than I thought I was going to. Maybe I just had to put on the right amount. Huh, that's actually not bad at all. Shoot, you guys, I've been sleeping on this. I think I used it once or twice and I was just sort of unimpressed and I haven't ever gone back to it. But right now, I mean, it's a little light, but that's okay. We can kind of fix that up a little bit. All right, you guys. I apologize. I've been poo-pooing this as not something I really cared for, and now it's been a couple months. I've come back in and I'm like, actually kind of like that. So, all right, off to a relatively good start here. I was gonna go in with a foundation over the top of it, but now I'm thinking I don't want to. So I'm gonna go in with one of her cream bronzers. This one's in shade Sandy. I like the little denser flat kabuki brushes to put on a cream bronzer or cream contour type thing. And I'm tapping this on just to get it where I want it to be instead of swiping it. Hey, if you guys are new here, I'm not a professional makeup artist. I'm a lady of a certain age. I get none of this stuff in PR. I actually purchased it with my own money. Something's gonna be impulse purchases. But usually I like to see if we can get multiple looks from the same palette, if stuff's gonna work for us as ladies of a certain age, or maybe somebody who, you know, isn't doing makeup for Instagram, for TikTok, for something a little bit more creative and colorful and just everyday stuff. This bronzer is perfectly fine. I really like the one from, which is one of a Soul Body. I have one, like a face and body bronzer from Soul Body. This reminds me of that, except for it's a little bit smaller of a component. Okay, my skin feels a little tacky right now. We'll have to see if that dries down at all, because that might be kind of a patchy, splotchy mess if I'm not careful. Okay, actually I'm gonna use one of her lip liners too. Might as well just kind of get started with all this. This is a lip liner in the shade, I had a hard time seeing past my contacts, but this is Cupcake. And I thought kind of the pinky color might be kind of fun with the whole Strawberry Feels thing. Okay, got that on. Now I'm gonna go in with one of her liquid lips. This is in shade Crabby. I gotta get it open. It's been a little while since I've used these. Wondering if that's not gonna be too peachy for the eyeshadow, but we'll have to see. I'm gonna give this a chance to dry down. I also have a lip oil that I really like that might tone it down a little bit if I need to, but my skin's feeling very glowy right now and it's slightly tacky. I almost forgot. I have her under eye primer, so we're gonna try this. We're gonna put a little of this down here. My husband's gonna be home soon. He went to go grab some paperwork and we're gonna sit and watch YouTube videos on Scotland because we're gonna be in Scotland in a couple weeks. Maybe this video will go up actually when we're there. This palette from Jaclyn has been out for a little while now, so I'm not racing to get out there. I did not get it in PR like I mentioned earlier, so we're just gonna kind of play with it and it'll get up when it's ready to go up. Okay, got the under eye primer on. I did actually put a little bit of the e.l.f. HD Lifting Concealer under my eyes as well, just to kind of, you know, lighten things up a little bit, smooth it out. I'm gonna go in with one of her blush palettes. This has Sun-Kissed and Bronze Moment. Might as well throw on some of this blush. I'm just gonna pick up some of this pink here and myself kind of strawberry cheeks. Now, again, when I first saw this palette came out, I was like, and I buy a lot of her stuff, almost everything, maybe not every shade in every launch that she does, but I buy quite a bit of her products. Out of all of the kind of OG beauty YouTubers, she's one that usually gets my dollars more than some of the other ones do. First saw this came out, I was like, well, I don't really want a berry toned palette. I feel like I have enough berry toned palette. And then my husband and I were in Ulta and walked by the display and I was like, okay, wait, hold on. if I actually look at this, that's actually a really pretty palette. I don't care what you say about the component being too thick with this raised shade and not stacking very well. This feels very heavy, very luxurious, and the color is actually very pretty. I've found that with a lot of these blush bronzer duos, that they all swatch very similar to me, and are very similar. And so I don't think you need all of them. You just have to find the one that's dark enough. And I did not use the bronzer on here. I may come back in with it. We'll just have to see how the rest of the eyeshadow goes out. I do have another one of our bronzers. I really like this. And then I realized that as far as like the highlighters go, I have 2 of these exact same Star Power Reflective Life putty highlighters. I don't know how I got 2 of them, but this is the one I have, and it's the one I like. I just don't know that I'm gonna pan 2 of them. And of course they've both been swatched, so I'm not sure what to do with that yet. Let's try this this eyeshadow palette, because I'm just gonna let my skin products kind of dry down a little bit. I feel like they need to dry down. I do have one of her setting powders. We'll try it in a minute, but I wanted to see if I got any follow on this before I start setting things down. So let me zoom you in and we'll take a look at this palette. You guys are awfully darn close. Let's take a look at this. When I was thinking about this palette, and even actually looking at it here in the viewfinder, this is the shade that jumps out at me. And it's like a raspberry bold shade, as well as this. This is like a shimmery raspberry shade. I guess they're your super ripe strawberry shades, right? But if you cover those 2 up, all of a sudden you have a relatively wearable, not entirely neutral, but like a warm neutral palette. There is this one right here called Day Date, which is very bright. And then it's almost hard to see. They look very similar in the viewfinder, but this one's a little bit more of a peachy color. And then this one is a little bit more of a pinky mauve-y tone. Cardboard palette. So she has done these cardboard palettes before. This is like a raised foiled strawberry though. It's actually really pretty. I don't mind it. I don't mind it at all. And again, at first I was like, I don't need another like raspberry looking palette. But then when I saw this, I was like, okay, it's actually really pretty. I'm gonna take this tan color right here. Should I do 2 looks or just one? Let's just do one. I didn't put anything on my lid. We're just gonna go with it. My lids feel a little tacky, I think, from the skincare and that skin tint. You know, that's something to think about. That might actually be good eyeshadow primer too, going forward. Wow, that's actually pretty. Okay, normally when I look at palettes, I look to see, you know, can I get a daytime work shade? Something I can wear with maybe with glasses, wear to work that's subtle and not too over the top. That might be the work shade. It's slightly warmer than maybe I would normally do, but I actually like the shade. And I think because this palette gives you this kind of tan, I'm gonna call it maybe like a light taupe shade, and then you have this, and then you have this white matte, you have this shade right here. I think you can get actually a very subtle, very pretty work look just by applying one shade and actually really looking at the color story. Why do I feel like I'm blurry? Okay, hopefully I'm centered and not blurry anymore. But yeah, if I'm a one and done kind of a daytime, that shade called Picnic Pie, actually, that's actually really pretty. I didn't take it all over my movable lid, but I got it way high and down into my crease. I'm gonna clean that same brush off and go into, what is this called? Shortcake. Kind of reminds me of like a little bit of a biscuity type shortcake. We're gonna go up over the top to sort of soften that. Wow. I was really uninspired and uninterested until I saw it in person. That may be kind of where you guys sit with this too. I feel like she's not, the last few palettes, maybe the one with her mom, but the one before that, I feel like she didn't really do a huge amount of marketing. And maybe she's just stepping back from it, but if it's not the creator doing it, oh my gosh, I keep getting blurry here. If it's not the creator doing the marketing, then I think we lose a little bit of the buzz on it. And I think she's taken some heat before from people saying, oh, well, the only time we see videos from her is when she's trying to sell something. Maybe, but if she's not doing her own promotion, then she got to rely on other YouTubers, I guess, to help kind of market it and promote it. That's relatively subtle. I'm going to take Berry Whipped, which is the darkest shade in the whole palette out here. I'm gonna pick a little bit of it up, dust it off, get it up in here into that lash line, and then we'll blend it up a little bit more. I was so worried this was going to be a red palette, red or raspberry, and I'm surprised at the number of kind of peachy shades in here. I think that makes it actually a little bit more wearable. For me, I'm not gonna wear red eyeshadow. Wearing red eyeshadow just screams, you know, rabid rabbit, and I'm not down with that. And then I think of Fatal Attraction, and that's not good either. Not that there was rabid rabbits in Fatal Attraction, but there were rabbit, and the gal was a little rabbit. You know what I mean? Okay, So far, so good, you guys. I'm actually really liking that color story so far. That's my third shade that I put on. And that burgundy, I actually really like. I'm enjoying this. I'm going to go in with All the Feels, which is this kind of... At first, I was thinking it was going to be the fuchsia color in here, but actually it feels very raspberry-like. And I've been doing a little bit lighter of a shade against my lash line, still kind of a matte out here. But I think that makes my eyes almost look a little bit more awake and perhaps even younger, which is something to keep in mind if you're a lady of a certain age. I think sometimes we go really heavy and dark out here, and that can be a little aging that I've noticed. Okay, I'm going to take that same shade, drag it down a little bit. That's where we get a little bit into that pink eye kind of looking thing, but I think because of the way those shades blended together, we may be able to get away with it. Yeah, okay, so far so good. Okay, so we've got some shades we haven't tried here. We have this darker kind of terracotta look. I don't think that really is going to work for me. I've got a raspberry shimmer, which I'm not really loving. I've got sugar coated. Wow. I think I'm going to take, now this is the challenging my comfort zone. I'm going to take this one right here. It's called Day Date. I'm going to actually put that on the majority of my lid, which is not something I would do. At this point, this is when you would say, oh, but you always go over your lid with a shimmer, right? But I'm finding that the quality is not skipping or patchy at all. That's kind of pretty. And I'm not normally a pastel wearer either, but strategically, for lightening and eye-opening purposes, sometimes pastels work pretty darn well. A little bit of kick up in this one, but it could be the brush that I'm using. I felt like that got really soft and light there. I didn't know that that was going to do that. Okay, I'm going to go back into Picnic Pie, which was that first shade that I used, kind of a warmer tan. We're going to use that shade to blend these into each other. And then I'm going to go back into that darker shade again, Berry Whipped. Build it up even slightly more. It's a gorgeous shade. Wow. I'm really surprised. It's like a brownish, like a reddish brown, like a raspberry brown. It's deep and it's just actually a really beautiful shade. It is exactly what I needed. Okay, those shades are actually really pretty. I didn't put on any shimmers. Let's grab, you know what? I'm going to start with this Picnic, which is the lightest white in here, and I'm just gonna tap a little bit of this on inner corner. That's actually pretty. It kind of reminds me a little bit of like if you were to put whipped cream on your strawberries. What did she call it? She called it Picnic. I would refer to it as whipped cream. Maybe not like a cream colored, but like, you know how whipped cream is white? Okay, and then I'm gonna go into Sugar Coated, which is the, I need to clean out this brush, which is kind of like the champagne shimmer right here. And I'm gonna a little tiny bit of that right here, just a little bit into lid, right against the lash line. I love this effect. If I do too dark, too close to my inner tear duct there, I definitely feel like it makes it look even more cross-eyed, which again, I don't need any help with that. Wow, that's actually really lovely. That's really pretty. All right, I haven't used every shade in this. I haven't used 3 shades. I haven't used this one, or this warm brown. Kind of want to do a little bit of this pink color called Lemonade. I'm just gonna load up this brush, try to tap it off a little bit, and we're gonna, I know I drag a little bit of that dark Berry Whipped down here, kind of mauvey pink shade down here. Hopefully I kept the majority of it out of my contacts. That will give me grief later on today. I'm seeing several looks I can do with just pairs of shades. You only have 2 shimmers in here, and I love that. In fact, I'm going to take this shimmer right here, this dark burgundy one, and we're going to give the lash line. Quality is actually perfectly fine. The color story I like so much better than I thought I was going to. Let's get some mascara on. I'm going to actually use my Thrive Cosmetics. I haven't used this in a while. The palette does not have a mirror in it. I think they missed an opportunity, especially for the price point. I think this is $34, if I'm not mistaken, for $34 for 10 shades. Maybe a little bit more money for a color story that, you know, does work for late summer into fall. I can really see using this palette in like around Valentine's Day. That definitely gives me Valentine's Day vibe. And then I don't know what part of the country you live in where strawberries are in season, but if they're June and stuff like that, I can kind of see that. And if you're someone who doesn't want to wear red eyeshadow on the holidays, but you don't mind doing kind of a wine colored, I can see that. I am so glad I picked up this palette. I wasn't convinced. Again, like I said, when I saw it, I was like, I don't know that I need that. I don't know that that's really going to add anything to my collection. And now that I have it, I'm really glad that I do. I'm gonna grab a little of this putty highlighter. Normally I've used it on a finger, but I'm gonna tap a little bit on here. Boy, that's really foiled when you use a brush. Ooh, that's too much. Okay, we're gonna have to match it up here and then we'll pull it off a little bit. Now that I have too much of that highlighter on, I'm just gonna take my beauty sponge, tap it in. Okay, one thing I can tell you about these putty bronzers or putty highlighters that she did is they actually do kind of blend into the skin very well. I need to do a highlighter declutter because I don't wear highlighters very often. So I think what I want to do is go through and maybe pick out like 10 I might actually keep. I'm going back in with her blush a little bit too, just over the top of that. And where originally I thought that lip color was going to be too apricot color for the look, I think it goes actually very well. Okay, I'm going to take a little bit of her, one of her lip oils. I think this is Maple Drip or something like that. And I love that on top of bare lips or a matte lip like this. That gives me a ton of longevity and actually makes it feel really good. Okay, I'm going to take one of her setting powders. This one is a little bit darker than I normally do. This one is called Brilliant and it's her luminous powder. And I'm just going to kind of keep this out to the peripheral of my face a little bit here. This is what this component looks like. My favorite one of these is probably Do Me, and now all of a sudden I'm not feeling like that original skin tint was too light. It actually now has to be doing just fine. Okay, I'm feeling a little shiny right in the center of my face. I'm gonna go in with the RCMA setting powder. This is kind of like my fix-all when I'm feeling a little too shiny. This is not a Jaclyn product, obviously. It's an RCMA product, but if I do this right over my texture and right in my T-zone, I find that it takes just that shine down a little bit, sets everything nicely. I didn't use a foundation, I just used her skin tint. How crazy is that? I'm loving this look. Wow. I went to sleep on that. I should have been a little bit more open-minded and got it earlier. If you guys are new here, thank you so much for hanging out and joining me. Like to try products, like to give you guys my honest opinion. I am not sponsored, affiliated, or endorsed. Nobody sent me any of this in PR. In fact, I wasn't even going to buy this, as I mentioned earlier. It was just one that I saw and I looked at it and I'm like, wait, hold on. That's actually really pretty. That seems a little bit more wearable than I thought it was going to be. When I saw this pink and the raspberry color and I saw the promotional photos and I saw the people using it, I was like, okay, all I can see is this row of pink. But if you cover up some of these, if you cover up like those two shades, all of a sudden it's like, wait, that's kind of a warm and cool toned palette with some dimension. These shades right here are just, these are neutral, right? Shortcake and then the sugar coated. Those you could wear with anything. I love this look. A little bit more complex probably than I needed to go, but we're playing with makeup, right? We're trying to see if something will work with us. Ladies of a certain age who are not professional makeup artists. Can they work for us on every day? And I'm gonna say with this palette, yeah, all right. I am back to being impressed by Jaclyn's eyeshadow. I think she did an excellent job. I hope you guys consider sticking around. Go ahead and hit the subscribe button, ring the bell to get notified when I upload, which tends to be Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern. I hope you guys are doing really well, and I hope to see you guys soon. Leave me a comment down below. Tell me, did this change your opinion of it? I'm not trying to convince you to buy anything. I certainly don't want you to spend money you weren't going to anyway. But seeing a different perspective on it, does it help you make a decision? I hope you guys are doing really well, and until my next video, bye for now.